Mr. John Trudell.
I think we need to challenge certain of their concepts. See, I don't think civil disobedience, violent or nonviolent, I don't think it's enough. I don't think fighting is enough. I don't think demonstrating is enough. What I think is it's time for us to understand to not cooperate with them. This is about non-cooperation. This is about taking the power of our intelligence and use it clearly and coherently rather than chaotically and distortedly, because every time we do that, we're cooperating with them, no matter how good our intentions. Anyway, I'm a child of the 60s. I'm old now. But what I remember from the 60s, what I think is lacking in my generation is I think my generation, we're not telling the generations behind us the mistakes we made. We're not telling the generations behind us, hey, look, you know, it's almost like an apology for not, I mean, our intentions were good, our motives were good, and all of that was good, but it's almost like we owe an apology to the generation behind us because we didn't, because the beast is bigger than it was when we started out. So what happened? How did it remain the same? How did it absorb all of our energy? How did it absorb it and grow stronger off of what we were doing? Well, we got civil rights, but look, you know, look at this community. Look at the economic devastation. All right, so we got civil rights and they still turn around and do what they do. Prisons are full of blacks. All right, women are still struggling for theirs. You look at that poverty. So everything that we did, we just held some ground that being lost in your generation, and your generation has having to come up and fight this fight. And what I'm trying to find a way is where will we really truly start thinking as about a part of whatever it is we've got to do going into the future. We base it on non-cooperation. We understand, we take the time within our own individual consciousness to understand and look and recognize the ways that we cooperate even in our rebellion. If we beat ourselves up in our head with, I'm not good enough and there's something wrong with us, we're cooperating with them. I'm talking about non-cooperation at that basic part of our own being a human being. And back to see, because we entered into this reality for whatever reason, and we all went through whatever the trauma is that we all went through. And generally as a result of the trauma, depending on how early it happens, but generally as a result of trauma, the traumatized blame themselves that something was wrong with them because it even happened to them. And that's where that kind of judgment, see, that's that judgment. But if we recognize reality, no one ever asked to be traumatized. Ever. No one asked to be traumatized. And if we look within our own lives, all right, and understand how the bad things, the negative things, understand how they happened to us and what happened, and recognize that we never lost our goodness, we never lost our innocence. What happened is we were traumatized in such a way that it put us off of balance, off a center, and it distorted how we perceive ourselves and then how we perceived reality. Oh, and the other one I want to put out here, because you see, not trying to start anything, but Obama did a really good job of imprinting certain brainwash illusions in the consciousness of the people who were desperate to believe. All right? Because I noticed what was interesting, the phrase hope or change, hope, and you can believe in. You can believe in it so you don't have to think about it. You can hope for it so you don't have to truly act. All right? And the change, nothing changed. All right? Skin color of the predator reptilian that is running the show. All right? That's all that changed. But you get to the basic behavior pattern, nothing really changed. And I want to go to this because, see, I know I'm treading on fine lines here because hope and believe, we got a lot tied up, invested in that. You know, we're putting a lot of our energy into that, and I think it's feeding it into a void. You know, democracy, what does it mean? It means the right of the entitled to have their majority rule thing. Democracy. We need to go beyond. This is what I'm saying about non-cooperation. We need to think outside of what they gave us permission to think about. We need to think like human beings for the welfare of the earth and for the welfare of the coming generations. We need to think outside of the prison that they have put our minds into. We need to understand the language that we use a little bit better. Because this theoretical democracy is not, when it's practiced the way it's supposed to be practiced, then that's the utopia. No, democracy does exactly what it is supposed to do. It creates an illusion. It creates an illusion that you got a voice, that you have a say. It creates the illusion, see? And then by the time your grandchildren catch on, see, it repeats the same illusion because, you know, I can tell the same lie over and over and over. And they trade the illusions of progress. Understand this. There's an industrial ruling class on this planet. They own democracy. They own socialism. They own fascism. They own communism. They own it all. They own every bit of it. You go to any one of these societies, any one of them, and they have a ruling class. And they do have a ruling class. They have a privileged class. They have a privileged state. They buy from the industrialist. They plunder, you know, they may say to the workers and whatever, well, we've got a better deal for you than that. But really, they're just these big corrals. Right? They use religion and government as these huge corrals, and they herd us into these corrals, and then they feed off of our energy. And they have us quarreling about which one is better than the other. Which vampire is the best? That's how this is about energy. Am I getting too nuts? To just think about and consider, there's nothing wrong with us, all right? See, it was religion that came in, and religion's a mining tool. It's religion that convinced us that there was something wrong with us. It's religion that put it into our perceptual reality when we were young and there was no one to protect us. Because the ones that would have protected us and tried to protect us, they were slaughtered 1,500 years ago, 2,000 years ago, they were slaughtered. And they had to learn how to fear. They had to fear and submit to this thing that told us there was something wrong with us. But there is nothing wrong with us. But when we're young, you know, the guilt, sin, and blame stuff, and as soon as that latches into us, as soon as we grab that concept, we never truly recognize ourselves with clarity. And I'm telling you, there is nothing wrong with us. We may have had wrong experiences. We may have even done wrong things. But our essence, the spirit, the being, there is nothing wrong with us. And we need to truly think about that. We need to think about it. It's about evolution, not revolution. It's about evolution. Life is about evolution. We are a part of the reality of life. Life is about evolution. We have had it imprinted into our consciousness to be revolutionary, but I'm telling you, it's about being an evolutionary. An evolutionary understands that it takes some time. An evolutionary knows it's what we truly put into it in the long run over time. The revolutionary has never ever won. The revolutionary has always had to become the state in order to protect their revolution. This is reality. This is reality. Tell me what revolution took place that did not have the human beings at some point in the history of it had to rise up and have another one. Things to really think about. Things to really think about. Evolution. We are a part of an evolutionary reality. Evolution means change and continue on. Revolution means you come back to the starting point. You always come back to the starting point. It's just a matter of how fast or slow you spin. Evolution. No offense. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for John Trudell. For those of you that are interested in some of John Trudell's work, over here in the corner, the lady in the turquoise.
Dream visions and dreams. Freedom, living strongest desire. The little people listen with a fancy step. Fire in the village, a restless drift, a wind blowing in. Fire in the village, smoke in the eye.